Hello and welcome to another video. It's been a while since you guys have seen my face, so I bet you guys don't forget. But this is the point. The point is we have a problem, which is this hat. It just, look at that glorious hat. So I have made it my mission to try and fix it. Here's how we're gonna do it. Alright, so you can see just by a good glance at it, the brim is the only problem. So like this part's all clean, you know, that's gotta be fixed, but that's the later thing. The brim is the main problem. And you can see a dog got to it. And another problem with this isn't fabric, this is leather. This entire hat consists of leather. Except for this. This is fabric, but all of this and this is leather. So, and if you guys know anything about leather, you can see all the sewing holes. It doesn't like flex like fabric does, so the hole like kind of warps around the thread. No. You could see all the holes. So trying to patch these holes up, it's gonna be impossible. So we have to actually replace this and fix the plastic because a big chunk of that has been ripped off and coming apart. So before I started the video, I have hot glue warming up, and I took a bunch load of photos of the brim so I can get kind of a good close-up of how this hat was put together, and so I can assess how I want to fix it. So I've come to the conclusion of needing to, like, I guess fill in this part of the brim that has a chunk missing, and I'm gonna do that with hot glue. Now, a while back I learned this technique because I was messing around and I was trying to make glasses. So I got like parchment paper, you know, like this wax paper, put a little oil spray on it, you know, just something to kind of butter it up, and then, you know, you put your hot glue on it, you shape it how you want, and then when it's dry you could just peel it off. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do here. Kind of. I'm going to kind of pull back some of this leather so that I can get a clean look at it, and maybe chop off some of these dangly bits because they're just trash. And then kind of set it down on the paper and slowly fill it in layer by layer. And maybe using some kind of stick to smooth out any wrinkles in the glue. You know how it kind of like, I don't know, warps over if you ever use glue, whatever. I think you guys know what I'm talking about. And then I'm going to use fabric, normal fabric, and go over the leather. So I'm going to try my very hardest not to try and take off the brim, because I feel that's going to be impossible trying to put it back on. So I'm going to limit that. Yeah, so we'll just take it bit by bit. Probably going to have to unravel this. So let's go. Okay, so welcome back. I just got done opening up this entire brim. So you could see I've kind of separated it just so that I can get a good look of the damage. And then another thing you might have saw me doing is I was hammering this with some weird stuff. I mean, I got the pliers and then the hammer. Well, I'll tell you what I was doing. So as you can see, there are a bunch of bite dents in here, which caused dents in the brim, so it was kind of poking out. And if I'm going to put a fabric layer over it, I want to make sure that you can't exactly feel it nor see it, because I want it to be very clean and well worth my time. I want to make this good hat. So now what I'm going to do is go around and kind of fix some of the dents that I can fix. Like for instance, this dent right there. You can see I'm going to hammer that down. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut off these chunks here that are kind of loose and out of the place. Can't really contain that. And then there's, you know. So what I'm going to do is kind of like somehow hold this back, maybe like with some safety pins. And just kind of fix the outer layer of the brim, because that's the main focus of the hat. That's the main part that it was damaged. And after that, I'm just gonna go ahead and hot glue the hat. So you can see here, like, big chunk actually missing. I'm just slowly, layer by layer, kind of smooth it out and try and make it roughly what's over here. Just mirroring it, so to speak. So yeah, and I got like Gorilla Glue, so this should be really good, and there's a lot of texture here, so it should stick really well to itself and to the actual hat. I think that's everything. So yeah, and then after that I'll work on this little piece. Yeah, without further ado, I'm gonna do this. Oh, oops, sorry. So you can see it in action. Let's go. Okay, hi. So it's been a little while since I picked this back up, but basically I went ahead and off camera finished all this way through with hot glue, so that held up really good. I also cut the edge off of all of this vinyl, just because. Alright, but now I'm back and I have my next materials, which is the leather. I think I originally said that I was going to go with fabric, but we actually had the opportunity and chance to go to a leather store in Springfield and get some. So we did. So I got this dark green and I got this black, and this is like actual leather. So you can see it's like thicker than this. So this is like basically vinyl right here, and then this is like genuine leather. So this is like actual leather, thicker, stronger, that kind of a thing. So, a little more heavy duty. That means it doesn't bend as easily as the vinyl, because, you know, it's thinner, it's more like fabric. So yeah, I have some tools here I got with it. So I got this thing. Basically, it's like a hole puncher that punches a bunch of synchronized holes in the leather, which is like pre-holes, since the needles can't do that. I'm hand stitching since I don't have a $1 billion sewing machine. And then I have like these needles here, which have like giant eye holes, and the needle part, the little point, is a little dull. It's not nearly as sharp as like normal ones, and they're also a little thicker too. And then I got this like big black wax string. So, yeah. Also got this glue here, since I can't exactly really like stitch it on the brim. So I'm going to be gluing it on here, just sewing it together in the front. So that leads me to my next point. Again, this is thicker, so I can't exactly bend the green over the bill and then fold the black on itself and put it together like how you might see fabrics, you know? So I'm gonna have to switch it up just a hair. I'm gonna have the green on top, and I am gonna wrap it over the bill, but have the black kind of flat on it. So that way it kind of does that. So all I have to do is just sew it together flat like this, making sure that it comes out round, and I'm set. Now that's the hard part, is like making this thing round, because I'm pretty sure I have to like cut parts of the corners in order to make it round without it bubbling, kind of a thing, because I want it to be flat and round. So I might mess with this a little bit, yeah. And then there's actually a different technique with sewing, hand sewing leather together. So whenever I get to that point, I will stop and show you what I've learned. But what's really cool is about like sewing leather is that the type of technique they use, it's a really like simple stitch, and there's no knots involved. Absolutely nothing, which is awesome. So yeah, I'm gonna mess around, make sure that this leather fits, and I cut it down. I'm also gonna be using the same leather for the this part that like tightens it, like a little band. Kind of with the same idea with like the green over the black kind of thing, and I'll sew that together. Yep, and then I'm pretty sure like the last thing is like cleaning this, because this has gotten oxygenated. So yeah, I kind of want to soak that in something to kind of clean it up, because you can kind of see it's green in there. And before, like the leather strap that goes there was definitely had like green stains on it from this, you know, so it's just kind of, you know, so I just want to kind of clean it up a little bit. So yeah, now that you know what I'm going to do, my next step, which is just to fit the leather on the bill, I'll see you guys in a bit. Okay, so now we're ready for the sewing. I went ahead and did all the way around. And then I also made like a puncture through all the here separately, because it wasn't going through. So now you need your thread and 2 needles, actually. Alright, so just go ahead and get a good thing going. I'm gonna do like wingspan type thing, and then just cut the string Alright, so now. So the reason we need 2 needles is because we're actually going to have one on each end. Right here. So go ahead, grab one end, grab one needle, and kind of feed it through a little. Put your thread through your eye again. Pull out a little bit out. And then kind of do the same thing. So get the length of the needle and then of the same length of the needle, string, stab it, and then give a little bit of length here on the second loop and stab it again. That was my problem. I didn't have enough length, so it was knot on top of knot, so it couldn't go over the eye. So now we can do this and just pull it over the eye. Okay, so now basically what we have to do is kind of like a back stitch at the beginning, kind of creating an anchor. So yeah, hold on, let me find a better way of putting this leather up. Okay, so now that you have your string with 2 needles on each end, we're going to attempt to thread this. So basically, when you start it, you kind of want to make an anchor at the beginning because it's the beginning. So basically what I did, these 2 leathers kind of overlap, but they don't meet up. So the very first point is actually this one, where they both line up. So that means we have to go on the second one down, leaving a hole kind of behind it so we can go back a little. Then you're just gonna kind of normally you would use a special tool. I don't have that, so I'm using a needle and a plier, and I'm poking all the way through both leathers so that there is a hole for the needles to go through. So you can see there, and I'm just going to kind of move it around to make the hole bigger. And then pull it out. I'm also going to flip this to the green side so you can see the thread. So you see I repunctured the hole. So I'm going to put my, oops. Silly me, I opened up the wrong hole. That was the first hole. I need to open up the second hole. That's okay, we had to do that anyways. So I'm going to open up the second hole as well. It's kind of weird. It's better to have a clamp to kind of clamp it upright. I don't have that either. I'm kind of a noob. I guess not a noob, just this is my first thing, so I'm kind of trying this all out. I'm showing you what I know. Okay, so we're gonna put the needle in through the second hole of the beginning. Where is the hole? There it is. Okay, found it. Okay, and then we're gonna pull the needle all the way through so that it's even, the string is evenly length on both sides, so we kind of meet in the middle. I'm pretty sure the threading would be a lot easier if you do, in fact, have like a puncture to make sure that the string is, or the leather has a large hole all the way through. Okay, so now they're even. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over. Then basically with every hole, we kind of have to tie the strings, if that makes sense. So I know my camera isn't very good at like showing you, but maybe you can see. Basically, start on the left side, and this is where the bigger hole maker would come in hand, but because you have to put both needles in through. So I'm just gonna go ahead and go in there again and try and make the hole a little bit larger. I missed. Okay, so. Okay. There. Now, we'll do the string on the needle on the left goes in first. So we'll put those in through both holes, all the way through, and then pull it out a ways. Eek. Oh boy. Okay, so there. And then now, while that's there, grab your other needle, and shove it in through the other side. So basically they kind of, one goes that way and one goes this way. See? So go into the same hole. Okay, so I kind of already have it mostly the way. So I'm going to grab the string that was on the needle on this side and kind of wrap it over this needle that's coming in from the right, as if like you were tying your shoe. Like you first tie the strings together and then you like make the loops and whatnot. So that's basically what we're doing every single time. Okay, now that is all the way through. We have to pull the strings tight. And this is quite the knot. My string is definitely curling. Okay, let's see what's going on. There. And that was the first one. Now we have to go back now we have to go back forward and go in the same hole again. Wait, am I already doing this wrong? No. Okay. I messed the hole up and I knew to skip it. That's why it looks a little messed up for me. Okay, so now we do this again. So, starting from the left side needle, we go back into the same hole, the very first hole, which is like the second one down. And push that sucker on out to the other side. And pull the needle all the way out, which is a hassle for me. Okay. Come on, eye. There you go. Good boy. Okay. There we go. Okay. And then taking your needle on the right, you're going to puncture it back into that same hole. And then again, once you get that all the way through, you're going to basically wrap the string on the left over the right needle. And it's always like, and this is the continuous pattern, you never really loop the first needle with anything because there is nothing to kind of do it with. So, yeah. And then from this, you kind of just keep going forward. You don't go back one. You don't skip a hole and then come back and then come forward. That's just for the anchor. From the very first knot, or very first hole to the very last hole. You know, that's only whenever you do that. And with the last hole, it's slightly different. So I'll show you it when I get to it. Trying to talk while I'm doing this so it isn't just awkward silence. There we go. Okay. So now here. Oops, it's awkward silence, isn't it? Alright, well, my string's just getting really tangled, like rolling and rolling. Oof, like that. It just wants to become a little curly turd. Okay. Alright, there. Okay, now we can move on. So, taking my spare needle with my pliers, I'm going to puncture a new hole. Going down one. Which I believe is this hole to this hole. Yep, okay, so now I'm just going to wiggle it around, making it bigger. There. Okay, now taking, again, your left side needle and pushing it in through both holes and pulling it out a ways, just so that the needle and the knot is all the way out of the leather, like that. And then you're going to take your right needle and go in. I'm gonna go ahead and uncurl you. Okay. And then go in that same hole. Yep. Alright. Same hole. I'm gonna go ahead and curl the string around the needle and pull it out. That was a little bit, finally, easy. Okay, now you should pull the strings all the way through. So this is basically how the pattern goes. It's just forwards and loop and tangled. So I can see right away that the string does in fact have a problem with like twisting a whole lot. Kind of sucks. But other than that, it's pretty self-explanatory. So I'll do it again, just so that you guys know what I'm doing. There, nice and tight. Okay, and then for the last time, I'm going to be showing this in kind of like normal speed. I'm going to take my spare needle, I'm going to puncture a new hole, and then I'm going to wiggle it around so it's nice and big. Oof, I thought I just ripped it all the way through the leather. Okay, so then you take your needle on your left and you push it all the way through. Like so. Alrighty. Then you take your right needle. I have no idea if you can hear my mom's movie. It's basically like a murder show. You know how it is. Alright, you take your your right needle and you go through the same hole. See, like that. Loop the string around. It's kind of important. It's kind of like the, I guess like the important reason on why hand sewing is so good with leather is because, first of all, you're using one string, so yay. But also because you're basically like making little knots in individual throughout the entire, I guess like for every hole there's always a knot. So whenever, like, say it gets really old and rough and then it finally snaps, well, it's not gonna just like you can just pull it all the way out like the machines. What it will do is hold together because there's a knot, and until that knot is snapped, that is whenever it will let go a little bit more, just until the next hole. I also think that's why hand sewing leather is really appreciated, is because it's technically stronger, you know. Okay. So, now that you kind of get the base of what I'm doing here, I'm going to go ahead and speed this process up so you can see it in action. Yeah, so you can see it in action. So basically, first left, then right. Whenever you get the right end, grab the string and you pull it to where like the knot basically goes inside the leather. Alright? And then that's the pattern all the way. And then whenever I get to the end, I'll show you what to do to knot it correctly, I guess. I mean, there's no knots, but to anchor it down, basically. So yeah, without further ado, let's go.